Hey everyone, welcome back to New Slang. I'm music journalist Thomas Mooney, and this is episode 174, where I'm joined by Texas songwriter Summer Dean. This week, she announced that her new album, Bad Romantic, is slated for an August 27th release. Now, I'm 100% sure that release date was not picked because that's my birthday, but it certainly coincides with the fact, and I'm gonna just take that as like a birthday gift from Summer nonetheless. She also shared the first single from Bad Romantic this week as well. It's an incredible little country tune called You're Lucky She's Lonely, and it's a co-write and collaborative effort with Colter Wall. If you haven't heard it just yet, I give you permission, hit the pause button and go give it a listen. I'll be right here waiting for you to come back. Which, it's early Friday morning as I record this, and I have to note that there's just an overwhelming amount of good music out today. Not only do we have You're Lucky She's Lonely by Summer and Colter, albums and singles were announced and shared by my pals Red Shahan, Flatland Calvary, and Kirby Brown. Jonathan Terrell, David Beck's Tejano Weekend, Rodney Crowell, Margot Price, and a bunch of others, they all shared new tunes as well. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention episode 173 guest John R. Miller released Shenandoah Shakedown and announced that his new record, Depreciated, is out July 16th. If you missed that episode, it's the one right before this one, so give it a listen after you finish this. Anyway, this new record with Summer Dean is ridiculously great. It's like a combo of Tanya Tucker and Merle Haggard. It's that lonesome barroom country blues and honky-tonk swagger kind of mixed together. It's traditional country and that Texan grit. And I just cannot wait for y'all to hear the rest of this record because I think it really could be like a breakout for Summer. During this one, we talk about recording the album and those influences and some of those collaborative efforts and the songwriting behind the record and a lot more. Today's presenting partner is our pals over at Desert Door Texas Sulto. If you've been listening to New Slang for really any amount of time, you'll know that Desert Door is one of my all-time favorite premium high quality spirits. If you haven't or aren't sure what exactly a Sotol is, I'm going to let you in on a little secret that's going to up the game on your liquor cabinet. For starters, the best reference point that I can point you to is to think about a tequila or a mezcal. Do you feel that Western desert, that Texas ruggedness? Okay, Sotol is like that, but a little bit more refined, smooth, and fragrant. It intrigues the palate and offers these hints of vanilla and citrus. There's an earthiness that often sends me right back to my Trans-Pecos and far west Texas roots. There's plenty to love about Desert Door. For me, it all starts right there. A close second is just how versatile Desert Door really is. You can go full highbrow and experiment with concocting a variety of cocktails that call for muddling fresh fruit, sprigs of thyme, sticks of cinnamon. It's perfect for that world. If you're a little bit more down home, if you've just rolled up the sleeves of your denim Wrangler button-up, it's perfect for that as well. If you're just desiring something that's short and sweet, it hits the mark every time. Desert Door is genuine and authentically West Texan. It's inherently West Texan. They harvest Sotol plants out in the wild and are knowledgeable conservationists at heart. That's obviously something incredibly important to me. They shine a light on what makes West Texas special and unique and worth preserving and keeping it safe from exploitation. Right now, you can find Desert Door all over Texas, Colorado, Tennessee, and there's budding numbers in places like New Mexico, Arizona, California, and Georgia. Best thing you can do is to check out desertdoor.com to find where Desert Door is locally. Again, that's desertdoor.com. By now, you probably know the drill, but in case you don't, if this is your first time listening to New Slang, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. New Slang is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and much, much more. Leave one of those 5-star reviews. It does go a long way. Stop on over at the merch store. It's newslangpodcast.bigcartel.com. Over there we have t-shirts, koozies, shot glasses, coffee mugs, and a lot more. So yeah, be sure to check out the Patreon as well. Great way to support this podcast as well as the Neon Eon, which that is my 90s country podcast. If you like 90s country, go check it out. Last week's episode was with BJ Barham of American Aquarium, and we talked about 90s country stuff over there. So, yeah, if that's your thing, go listen to that as well. We'll make this one super quick. All those links, they are in the show notes. And so, yeah, let's get on to it. Here is Summer Dean.
The duet, May 14th.
Yeah, well, let's start right there. Obviously, you have that song with Colter. I know you guys went on like a tour back in like last summer or the summer before, something like that. I'm messing up my dates here, but is that where kind of like that was born out, or was there roots of the song earlier than that?
No, there were roots of the song earlier than that. Yeah, I'm lucky enough that Colter let me hitch along to his wagon a couple of times, and I don't know how I got that lucky, but he's a really nice guy, so I appreciate those opportunities from him. But yeah, the song came about before that. We've been friends a couple of years, and I had written the first verse of that song, the song I'm singing. I had written that already, and I sent it to Colter, hoping he'd be interested in helping me write it, but also probably thinking he probably wouldn't, and totally underestimating what a cool guy he is. But no, within a couple of days, he sent me back the second verse, singing into his phone. I felt real lucky to have a version of him singing into the phone. It's pretty cool. And then I wrote the chorus, kind of with his thinking in mind and his voice in mind as a duet. And then we were both out on tour. Summer of 2019 is when we recorded this. It's crazy. And we were both out on tour and kind of met up in the middle. We both flew in to Fort Worth to record at Nile City Sound. That's where the whole album was recorded. They have killer vintage equipment and records a tape. And man, it's a cool place, really cool place to record. And it's right here in Fort Worth where I live. So that's perfect. So Colter came in and we took a day or so to get that song down. And then I went out with some shows with him for the first time following that, after that. So we got to do the duet on stage a couple of times. So that was really cool to get people's reactions of it. So people that have been to live shows have heard it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, so much of what Colter's doing now, he's leaning further more into like the country, like cowboy songs and the Western trail songs. And, a song like this really reminds you of like, oh, he could be a just, meat and potatoes country singer if he wanted to as well.
Yeah. And that's one reason I really appreciate him doing it. I know it's not completely in the lane that he's doing and feeling. So I appreciate him doing it with me, but gosh, doesn't he sound good on a lonely old country song? I know. He does. I mean, he sounds so good, and he's going to sound good no matter what he does. But gosh, I'm grateful for Colter, and I hope that we're not done playing together. He's a good dude.
Yeah, the times I've spoke with him, he's just been really down to earth, and I think, when you have a voice like that, I think for some reason people can think of you as being a little intimidating. Just because of the voice, but he's about as down to earth as you can, of a guy as you can come across, and real, can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting is what you were saying there about, you guys, you sent him like the first verse, he sent back something, then you were like writing towards his voice in a way. That's really interesting.
I really like it. I really like it when Colter breaks into that kind of yodeling falsetto, and he's done some of some Haggard covers I've heard him do, and I just thought he would sound cool doing that, and I thought, well, how great would it be to harmonize doing it? I love it too, and Colter and I became buddies, kind of like knowing and liking and talking about the same Western things and punchy things and music and stuff. And so I wanted to show some of that in the chorus, but I didn't think about it too hard because I know he's such a good singer. It was going to sound good no matter what he does. So I didn't think about it too hard, but I did. But I wasn't going to waste the opportunity to record with somebody as great as he is.
I hear you. Yeah. That's always fun, really interesting. The whole, especially like with like Nashville, if you're writing towards someone, if you, pitching a song towards someone, I mean, I can see that being like something that you can do to lean into it to get a little bit better. Like if you're just like writing I don't know. I've heard Terry McBride talk about this with like Ronnie Dunn for Brooks and Dunn. And then I've heard like, of all places, like Oasis, like Noel Gallagher talking about writing for his brother Liam because he like really has like a distinct way of pronouncing A's and stuff. I can see it like being something that you could do or want to do, but then if you just go too heavy in that, like you're just kind of getting lost and not even necessarily going towards like what you want in the song.
Yeah, totally. Sense. Yeah, totally. I think everybody, keep your signature on it, but still do it for somebody else. I think every songwriter might enjoy a challenge, like a project, an assignment, and that's kind of what that feels like to me. There's a couple other songs on the record. Simon Flory is an amazing songwriter. He lives here in Fort Worth, and he wrote Bad Romantic, the title track of the album. And he wrote it with me in mind to sing it. And he wrote Can You Hear Me Knocking, too, which is going to be another single off the album. And, of course, he wrote it a little differently, and I put the thing down, flipped it, reversed it, kind of, and made it feel like I wanted it to feel. But he's really great at writing for other people. And, when you receive a song from somebody else to sing or they wrote it for you or you're covering their song. I covered a Brennen Leigh song on the album, too. She's one of my favorite songwriters ever. I think it kind of challenges your vocals a little bit too as a singer. So like I'll write for myself and I'll kind of write in my range, write in my comfortable spot and leave it there. Whereas other people might put some things in there that challenge my vocals a little bit and help me sing in a different way than I normally would, or at, a different style, or not a different style necessarily, but like just my range and everything and melodies that I maybe wouldn't have come up with. So I kind of liked they broadened me a little bit, other songwriters.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I was reading something, or it may have been on that little interview you did with Matt Hillier of 1100 Springs.
Yeah.
I guess like you were talking about getting ready for this record, and you were talking about having 20 to 30 songs and kind of getting prepped to figure out what you wanted to do with this record. What's it like as far as collecting those songs and knowing, what you want to do with this record as far as, this is the, not necessarily parameters, but this is what I want to say with this record and how do I get there with these songs? What's been like that process like? Since...
like this is the project. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I had, for this record, and Matt actually, he and I wrote a song that made the album, called 1,000 Miles Away. I really love that song. It's probably one of my personal favorites on the record, but, we wrote another one for the record too, and we recorded it, but I actually took it off of the record last minute. So there were 12 songs, but I changed it to 11. For this record, how we kind of selected the songs is, I had several things in mind I wanted this project to stand for. So without thinking about it too hard and just doing what feels right. But unintentionally, a lot of the songs are about independence and kind of I've made this lifestyle change. I was a school teacher for 10 years and I made the lifestyle change of quitting that job and doing music full time. And through that decision of kind of grabbing my cojones and jumping off, I kind of wrote about that and felt that. So a lot of the record is that feeling of independence and strength in who I am. And this is what I am. I'm not trying to be anything else. And so not that that's how I feel, but those are kind of like the manifestations and things that I was thinking as we were putting the songs together. And another kind of thing I was thinking about as we were deciding about how the record's going to sound and the effects that we were going to use and such and kind of licks we were going to choose and make up is I called it androgynous, and that's probably not the word for it, but it was important to me that both men and women could vibe this record.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to, I wanted men to not think like, I hear the word chick singer all the time. And unfortunately, sometimes it has an eye roll attached to that. And that makes me mad. So I just wanted a record that could appeal to both men and women. And we took a lot of nods to Haggard. Like a lot of musicians, he's my hero and my favorite. So you'll hear a lot of Haggard just mushed into the whole record. So we called it Girl Haggard. So when there were kind of three little umbrellas of things I was thinking about. It was the Girl Haggard and the appealing to both men and women, and then kind of making sure that I'm singing about what I know and that I didn't put anything in there that wasn't natural to me. So
yeah, yeah. If there's not like a parody account, Girl Haggard, yet, someone needs to.
Well, but someone needs to do that. I know.
This episode of New Slang is brought to you by the Blue Light Live here in Lubbock, Texas. Blue Light has long been the heart and soul of the Lubbock singer-songwriter scene and has been a home away from home for some of Texas, Americana, country, and rock and roll's finest over the years. Talk with 99.9% of the songwriters who have come out of Lubbock and the Panhandle at large over the past 20 years, and they'll point to just how integral and necessary the Blue Light is. With live music and touring slowly but surely coming back, spots like the Blue Light are getting back to their usual ways as well. That means music every night of the week. Do you want to see that schedule? Well, I've got a few options for you. 1, go to their socials and give them a follow. That is at Blue Light Live on Twitter, at The Blue Light Live on Instagram, and of course by just searching The Blue Light Live on Facebook. They're consistently posting that week's lineup of shows, as well as those heavy hitters that ought to be on your calendar that are coming up on the horizon. 2, check out bluelightlubbock.com as well. There they have the full schedule, the cover charges, time, any of those specials that may be happening. While there, go check out their merch page. They have a wide range of hats, koozies, hoodies, sweaters, beanies, jackets, and so much more. You can, of course, get all of your merch needs when you go see your favorite band take the stage at Blue Light. Just ask the bartender and they will get you all set. Speaking of which, that's another great way of seeing who's playing there. Just go to the Blue Light. It's at 1806 Buddy Holly Avenue here in Lubbock, Texas. And of course, again, that is bluelightlubbock.com. I'll throw a link into the show notes too. Maybe I'll see you there. Okay, let's get back to the show.
It's hard to take someone's, I don't want to say that I can't compare myself to Merle Haggard at all. Good gosh. So I don't, I have a hard time like saying it because I'm like, who the heck am I to think I can compare me with? That's not what I'm saying. I just mean that I hope that a chick can come across as cool as a guy doing it, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows what they're talking about. Who knows?
I know what you're saying as far as, for some reason, like, in country music, especially here in Texas, it feels like that women just can't get like the same breaks that a guy can. And it's very frustrating because like, how many great women songwriters there are. And it feels like all of them have all the ones that are like, that make it big, they have to go to Nashville, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, why can't like there be more homegrown talent that stays around, that kind of keeps that Texas identity in the quote unquote Texas country or whatever. But like I think that like from what I've heard of the new material and songs is I do feel like you very much hit that lane of what you're talking about in relation to Merle, as far as like those like barroom ballads. A lot of the feel and vibe of the record, you're seeing like, Nile City Sound, as far as having like the vintage equipment and everything. You very much feel like this record. It's weird because like it feels like a record that has like a vintage feel, a very classic vibe, but not where it's forced where you can just tell like, oh, we're doing things in an old way just to be old or as a novelty. You get what I'm saying? Like it feels very much like a record that is of an era of before, as far as like I feel like there's a lot of like that early 80s late 70s Tanya Tucker vibe as well. So I mean, like there's
Yeah,
a lot of that, a lot of the like the Merle stuff, as you were saying, and just is there a little touch of that Gary Stewart kind of honky tonk and stuff,
sure, man. I mean,
it's
I hope so. These are all this is all what I listen to. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what comes out. And
mm-hmm.
of course we made this album. We also recorded this before the pandemic. And so it's interesting to me when I listen back to the songs because, we were on the road a lot and playing hard and then it stopped, so the record has this moment of time in it. And so, but it's just now coming out. So it's kind of interesting to revisit when we were writing these songs and when we were recording them. And I'm glad you got that feel from it. If you could see me, I kind of made like a fist pump. It's like that's what I was going for. I don't know what people are going to call it and what people are going to call the genre, and that's okay. They can call it whatever they want to call it. That's cool. So I'm glad that that's the vibe you got, because that's kind of what I was going for. So success.
Yeah. It's the whole thing about recording this before the pandemic and it capturing that moment in time for y'all, as far as being out on the road, being out in these venues, and it's almost like a lot of there's some songs I would say that capture that 2:30 a.m. vibe. I mean, I think it's like even a line kind of in Bad Romantic.
Yeah.
And kind of like just those feelings, and then all of a sudden, like a lot of that stops, like it just kind of is halted.
Yeah.
And is it weird, like as you said, like looking back on these songs now, like because they're a couple years old, and then like the recorded versions are a year old, and then now it's like 2021 all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. I'm still excited about it and still listen to it and like the album. But it's weird. It's been a long time coming, and it's been a long time coming, and this has a lot of layers for me. Like I said, I taught school for 10 years and quit to do music full time. And so I feel like when we were heavier on the road in 2018, 2019, it felt like I just come out of the chute bucking and I'm 41 years old, so it's like, it came later in life and it just felt really special, to make the album and be on the road and be playing for people after putting it off and thinking that I couldn't do it for 20 years. So, I hope that, other people that are sitting there thinking about something they really want to do and they think they can do it, man, just jump off and start. I learned quick that nobody really knows what they're doing. Everybody's just trying. And sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. So when I say, been a long time coming, it's figuratively and literally.
Mm-hmm. That's always interesting there too, as far as like, for some reason, I think we always think that these great musicians, they made it at 18, 19 years old, 20, early 20s. And a lot of them didn't. A lot of them, they were doing other stuff, writing songs. Yeah. And it wasn't until their, mid 30s, late 30s, before they actually kind of became more recognized, And I think like that's always like the perspective of that always makes me kind of go, okay, yeah, there's still time to do stuff. So it's
totally.
it's important,
It is. I mean, there's a lot of young guys out there that are really good too. So thank goodness there's not an age issue in this industry too much. So that's nice.
Yeah, they don't kick you out after.
Yeah. I'm looking at back in the day. What did Jason Eady say? Like the older and uglier women were the ones, So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. At least they looked older. I don't know if they were older, but at least they looked it.
Yeah. You ever do that too? Like if you see like your parents, like when they were in high school and you're like, all of you guys look like 25 and you're like supposed to be 16 or something.
Yeah.
What is
they have like mustaches, but they just got their driver's license.
Yeah. That's
Totally.
When I look back at my parents, I'm like, man, like, did you fail some grades in here? Like, I know you say you graduated at 18, but I don't know. Why did I look 12? And like,
yeah,
18?
Totally.
So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I want to go back to the sound of this record because again, like, I think that there's something very much where we're going into a time where everyone is trying to capture those old sounds, those vintage feel, those records that we grew up on, that our parents played. And sometimes that can feel forced.
Goodness.
Sometimes it can feel like, how do you capture that in modern times? But so for y'all, like, what was it as far as like ensuring that, that the sound was right and that it didn't feel, forced or anything like that?
Man, I got to put, that's all the producers. That's Josh Block is the owner of Nile City Sound here in Fort Worth, and then the other producer is Kevin Skurla, who also, Josh played drums on the album. Kevin played guitar, steel, a little bit of piano on the album, and also co-produced it. So, man, that's on them. I mean, they worked, they did some really cool things with all this huge reverb stuff and working all these knobs and recording the tape. But those guys know what they're doing. And that's one reason I really wanted to work with them is they have a really vast knowledge of the kind of stuff that I listen to and that I like and the kind of stuff that inspires me, but they also are really good producers. And so I thought, man, what a perfect marriage of being able to build and create what we want to build without just reinventing the wheel. So that's kind of what we tried to do. But if we accomplished the fresh but old but vintage sound, and that's on the producers. They're so good.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah.
I feel like I never have like the vocabulary to even if I was like having to go and make a record hypothetically, I don't feel like I'd have like the knowledge or like the language to get what I want across.
Yeah, that's hard. And then once you think you get it across, I'm like, yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying here? Like, it's hard because I don't think there's one word for anything, and I certainly don't know it. But I just do my best and try to trust the right people.
Yeah. Well,
who knows?
Do you do the whole? I feel like people do this, but some people don't want to admit. Do you do the whole like, hey, I'm looking for, and then like go listen to this song, and I want this feeling on this record? Can you do that? Do you use examples like that all the time, or?
Oh yeah, totally. There's a song that Brennen and Leigh wrote on the record called "Distracted," and we put this extra tag ending on the end and put this kind of George Jones 1/5 on it on the end. And man, I was like, Kevin actually came up with it in the studio. I was like, oh, let's put the 1/5 there. And I'm like, oh, that's a George Jones ending. Heck yeah, let's do it. So it happens kind of like that. Like a lot of the vibe, I came in with the songs I wanted to do, and then it wasn't just I paid for a couple of days in the studio and then we banged them out. It was a process in the studio. It was cool. We built a lot of the vibe in the studio as we go. And that's why it was important to me to have the people that I had. Josh is an amazing drummer and did a really good job with exactly these kind of funky beats that I wanted and funky country beats. Kevin is a wizard at the steel and electric guitar and did amazing on those. We had Aiden Bubeck on bass, who was Miranda Lambert's bass player for a really long time and band leader. And Robert Ellis played piano on the album and sang harmony. And then I had Whitney Rose and Bonnie Montgomery singing harmony. And, Matt Hillier and Colter writing. So I was really happy with the team that helped me with the record, and especially the vibe in the studio. Those guys did awesome. But that's I don't want to say that was me, because that was definitely the team coming up with the vibes.
Yeah, no, I think what I always love seeing is when you can tell like an artist has been really intentional with a record. There's something obviously cool about like, hey, let's go cut a record and it's like done in 3 days, and you're just kind of like trying to squeeze out everything from a budget and trying to, I've got 15 songs, we're going to cut 10 of them or whatever, how many, and this is our first record, and there's like that, just the first experience feeling of a record. You're like writing that energy. There's something really, really cool about that. But there's also something cool about when an artist is a little bit more intentional, where you can just tell, like, you know, it took X amount of time to cut the record, but it was even more thinking went into before even going into the studio, as far as like knowing, as you were kind of saying before, like these are the things that we want to say, or what I want to say. This is what I want to feel. I want people to feel about the record. Just the intentions. I think that's all important.
Yeah, we had intent with it. I also didn't want to think too hard about it. Like, I have a good time playing on stage, and there's a lot of comedy and banter and high energy, and I wanted that to come across on the record. So we did all this with intent, but also kept it lighthearted at the same time, because, you know, these records, they're important, and we put so much of everybody put so much of themselves into a record, and money and time and just existence we put into these records. But you also have to realize, man, this is a moment in time, and we're going to make another one day. So I'm not going to try to tell the entire thing right here. I'm going to make another record, and I'll tell another story with that record. So we had definite intent, but it's also fun to just do it.
Right.
Let's just do it. That was kind of the thing. Like, let's roll with it. Yes.
Yeah. I think like there's, you know, talking with people on here, it's been there's like every way is a right way to make a record, and every way is like a wrong way. It just like depends on the moment, and don't think about it too long, because they are, and this is like the same thing I think with songs too, is like you can go too far, like everything's a snapshot, you know, and you can let them, especially with songs, you can let them adapt over time, you know, but like the record, just if you want to record it that way and it makes sense for right then, that's fine. And then like let it grow later. If you end up playing it different later, that's fine too. I mean, like there's that's the beauty of art of the recording, is that like, you know, it's just a snapshot.
Yeah, and then you go see it live, and sometimes there's different players and different instruments, and you get a different vibe. Or sometimes I might be on tour and I'm playing solo. So it's cool. These songs have different lives, and you kind of have to let that be and not pull the strings too much, you know. But but I'm still a beginner. This is just my second album. It's my first full length, so I'm still learning too. And you know, I put a lot of trust in some really smart, talented people around me.
I want to break one more time to talk about our pals over at Desert Door and offer up a quick Thomas Mooney's cocktail minute. As I've said probably 100 times by now, by no means am I a seasoned mixologist or bartender, but these have been some of my Desert Door go-tos. For starters, let's just go with the tried and true ranch water. Pop the top off the Topo Chico, take a good swig, now pour in some Desert Door, and top it off by throwing in a few lime wedges. Never fails. This one, it's so simple it probably doesn't even count, but again, pretty foolproof. Do the exact same thing, but get you a Mexican Coca-Cola. I guess you can go with a regular one, but you're really cutting yourself short if you don't opt for the Mexican import variety. All right, here's the change-up you've been waiting for. Desert Door Sangria. This one is prime for when you have company coming over and you aren't wanting to just be over there making 6 different drinks at a time. What you'll need is some Desert Door, obviously, a bottle of red wine, honey, boiling water, apple cider vinegar, some cinnamon sticks, a couple of apples, and some thyme sprigs. I know, that may sound intimidating, but trust me, it's worth the prep, and honestly, it's pretty easy. For starters, get you a punch bowl, add that honey, those cinnamon sticks, and the boiling water together. Now you're going to want to stir that all up and let it cool down for about an hour or so. Remember, patience is a virtue. Once that's done, add some Desert Door and stir vigorously. Now add the wine, the cider, and the vinegar, and continue stirring until it's equally mixed. Now slice those apples up and toss them in. Put in those thyme sprigs as well. Now you can pour that over some ice and you have a mighty fine sangria. Chef's kiss. Anyway, those have been some of my favorite go-tos as of late. And remember, Desert Door is as versatile as vodka and more refined, smooth, complex, and intriguing than tequila. It's rich in balance, and whether you decide to keep it simple or want to experiment, Desert Door is that perfect Texas spirit. There's plenty more recipes over at desertdoor.com as well. Check out the show notes for a link. All right, let's get back to the episode.
I want to talk about the song Dear Caroline.
Oh, I love that song.
Man, that song right there, especially like what's on, there's that little bit of that countrypolitan kind of like Glenn Campbell, Dolly Parton kind of feel to it.
Yeah, cool.
Oh man, I really love that song. And then of course, like I've been listening to it, even today I've listened to it like 4 or 5 times just because like there's something that just, that hits right there.
I want Reba McEntire to sing that song. I know at first that sounds weird, but she's from Oklahoma, and I don't know. I just kind of hear her singing it. I know she would do it a completely different way, and if I would change some of the words for her maybe. But Dear Caroline is an interesting song. I wrote it with actually like a narrative writer, like a writer, not a songwriter, and his pseudonym for writing is Charles Wolfe. And so it's a compilation of 3 letters, and it's based on the Dust Bowl. I'm fascinated and just in love with that generation of people and the hardships that they were going through, yet just the steadfastness and tenacity of their religion and their they just kept going and kept going. And so the song is 3 letters to a girl named Caroline from a girl named Lorena. And all these are fiction. So realistic fiction. And and all the dates of the letters are April 17th, but the first letter is 1928. The second letter is 1932. And the third letter is 1935. And I did those dates on purpose. So many people had these fake, false promises of this land that's just so fruitful, and we as humans got a little greedy, and we turned up way too much dirt, and we caused a gigantic problem, which came in with the Great Depression and this drought that was years and years and years long. And so these people came from all over and tried to farm, and then just kept getting bad news and bad news and bad news and bad news. And there would be a huge dust storm, and the next day they just wake up, and if they survived, which is not dramatic, like if they survived, they would sweep it out and go to church and pray for rain. Sweep it out, go to church, pray for rain. And they just kept doing it and kept doing it. And bad things kept happening and no good news. And finally, the reason April 17th is 3 days after April 14th. And April 14th, 1935 is called Ruination Day. And it was this huge black storm on a Sunday afternoon that just came through. And they thought it was the end of time. They thought it was Armageddon. They thought it was the rapture. And so the last letter is 3 days after that storm. And the writers just, everything is going wrong, except they go to church and they keep praying for rain. And it's just, to me, it's tragic and romantic at the same time. And I hope it's not the last song that I write about the Dust Bowl, because I really like it. I grew up in that country too. I grew up in North Texas, which is the south tip of the hardest beat of the Dust Bowl. So that's really important to me. I hope other people kind of get it, but we'll see. But that's on the record. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think like the storytelling on that record, on that song specifically, is so, as you said, it was like it's fictional realism or whatever.
Yeah, realistic fiction. Yeah.
It feels like, I don't know, like if you had, honestly, it feels like if you had gone out to an antique store and like bought a desk or something, and then was going through and found like letters, you know, in a drawer or something like that, or like a family drawer, because it very much feels real. And like, I know, you know, clearly it's not real, but like someone that's real for someone out there. Like, you can probably find like if there's a Caroline out there, like specifically out there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was my great grandma. I feel like it was my Nini, and you know, where I'm coming from, a lot of us have those Ninis and Nanas and Mimis that lived through that. I mean, you're in the 806. You were in the heart of the Dust Bowl, and so it's a special song, and I think it's cool you brought that one up, because I don't know, it may not be for like every country music fan, but it's definitely for the songwriters, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, they talk about, I don't know, I guess it was maybe a couple years ago, whenever there was like a big dust storm. Obviously, like there's always dust storms in the Sahara and desert, but like how there was one big enough where like they were talking about how like, oh no, I know what it was. Was it like a fire maybe, where the like ash of like a fire or something was going across the Atlantic and like it reached the U.S.
I think you were right the first time. I think it was sand.
There's something like that, but
yeah,
that sounds so crazy. But I remember as a kid hearing, you know, they were talking about how dust from the Dust Bowl would reach Washington D.C., like in the White House, and thinking that was ridiculously, like, how is that possible? But then, you know, fast forward years later, and like literally dust from, or dirt, sand from another continent makes its way across a, you know, giant.
It's pretty amazing.
Ocean.
It's really, there's a Ken Burns documentary on the Dust Bowl too that I really like, and I watch it. I mean, I watch it almost like osmosis, like I'll go to sleep to it, so that hopefully I'll dream about it. Like, and you know, in the studio recording that song, it was important to me to get the vocals right. And I don't think I'll ever get the vocals how I want them, because that's why I want somebody else to sing that song one day. The vocals are really important to me, because I wanted them to give the feel of the people that were living through it. And I tried to do that, but I cried in the studio when we were working on this song, because it's special. The subject is so special to me, and I feel like this is my great grandma and her sisters, and this is my family, and so I kind of felt this connection to it, and to see the guys were working so hard to get the feeling right on just the tiniest snare part, or the tiniest. I mean, they were working so hard to get the feeling right. It made me cry that other people were putting so much effort into making it special. So I'm glad. I think it's cool that you brought that song up, because it's kind of like on there, and I know the story behind it, but I don't know if everybody will even care about it. So I'm glad you brought it up.
You know, I love like you kind of being obsessed with a lot of Dust Bowl things, because I feel like, you know, I'm from West Texas, clearly, but I think there's something different about like the spirit of people, like especially like okay, so like it's easy for me being living in Lubbock in 2021, because clearly there's air conditioning and there's like infrastructure and there's like you can go places, right? It was probably a lot harder, you know, 100 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
Clearly, you know, like but like it's amazing how there's still clearly connections to the past, through the lens of people, clearly, or like, I don't know, if you drive out to like Littlefield, for example, like Waylon Jennings' brother owns like a liquor store out there, and it's called Wayland's. And one time I went out there and we were talking, and he took me to like where Wayland was born, and like where his like parents were living at the time. And it was like literally in the middle of a field kind of thing. And like how when his parents moved out there, they had like a dugout essentially. Like they had kind of had like a mound where they had like, I guess like wood beams up, and like they were living out there like that. And they end up like moving into town and stuff. But like that's not long ago. And I know like so many people have family who are like that as well. And what I find so amazing is like just that rugged frontier spirit, if you will, because like these people, they could have packed up and left, or they could have went back to maybe another home. But a lot of them really couldn't at the same time. I mean, like there's,
if they did, they died trying.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them died trying. It was, I mean, it's magic. It's magic to me. And I think there's so much magic and tragedy in the nothingness that I think when people that can relate to it, I think we can relate to each other because of it really well. Like when I meet people out where you're from, and when I meet people up north and west, up in that part of Texas, it's like, I don't know, there's a magic to it, and I hope I don't ever stop writing about it, because it's pretty cool. And well, it's cool to me. I don't guess I can stop writing about it because I love it so much.
Yeah, it's the the romanticism of nothingness.
Yeah,
like that. I absolutely love how sometimes like there's something really, really cool about the void, about there being like just nothing but sky, you know?
Yeah, which is why I think so many artists, like if we're talking about, we're talking about West Texas. I mean, we're like Terry Allen, Butch Hancock, and everybody. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think an artist can survive in that. And so I think that's one reason that the music is so magical from that part of the world. Is I think artists can feel it, and we can survive there, and so it comes out of us. And same thing with like way out in California, and when you get out to that type of desert, I think artists just can survive in those places, and so we almost can thrive in those kinds of places. And so that's what comes out.
Yeah, I think like I've been trying to figure out like and put that my finger on figuring out what it is, what's made Lubbock or like West Texas special for artists. And sometimes I think it's just like maybe at least for people around my age or grew up here during the 80s and 90s, sometimes it's just like there was nothing else to do, like there was no distractions of a big city, like,
Mm-hmm.
like how many times you're going to go to the Hastings in Lubbock or like the mall and walk around. No, like there's literally nothing else to do. Like there's not a beach, and there's no like hiking trails, and it's like working or work on music.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I grew up too.
So yeah.
Totally.
You mentioned Butch Hancock, like that first record of his. I don't know if you've listened to it much. It's it's like a long title. I can't even think of what it is. It's like Windblown Dust something, or Dust Ballads, or in Tractor Tunes or something like that. Yeah. It's like a long title. I've not listened to it in a minute. All those songs like have that rhythm of the tractor, because he wrote like almost all of them while he was like driving the tractor. And I think there's something really, really funny and cool about that.
Yeah. I wish I was that good, but no, I just write about documentaries and books that I read. But yeah, I wish, it would be cool. That's something interesting about, I wonder if Butch even knows that. Like, I wonder if, I love to talk to people about these kinds of things, and people that I meet after shows in the merch booth and stuff, and how they hear certain songs and how they hear certain lyrics. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. It's coming at it a completely different angle. That's so cool that you hear it that way. Or maybe, and you wonder about those geniuses like Butch Hancock. You wonder, like, were you a genius, or did that just ooze out of you and we think it's genius? Like, was that on purpose, or did you just not know what you were doing and that's how it came out,
Yeah.
who knows?
Like, how self-aware are you of your
Yeah.
genius?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or did it just happen to be that way and we're reading way too much into it? Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. It has, like, as you mentioned earlier, you kind of realize no one knows what they're doing, or like they're all like, everyone's like struggling at the same time at the same, like, at just different levels, like as far as like
Yeah.
trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I know that like there probably is a little bit of confidence in knowing like, hey, this is something I want to do and I can do. And then also just, stumbling on magic at some points.
Yeah. Yeah. It does make me feel good when I run into people that in my mind are much further down, much more established than me and doing things that are in my goals. They're already there, and I hear them, complain about something or not know how to do something. And it makes me feel so much better. I'm like, oh, I mean, it kind of makes you feel worse. Like, oh, this never gets better. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well then this is just the way it is. I think I tweeted the other day, I'm in a constant state of, man, if I can ever figure this out, I'm going to be unstoppable. But that's how I feel all the time. Like all the time, like, now, how do I do that? So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. I think like that's what, it's just human nature to always think like, once I get this done, or once, like, people especially use it when they're moving somewhere. Like, you hear all these people think like, oh, I'm going to move to Austin and things are going to get better for me personally, or I'm going to move to LA or New York and things are going to get better because there's going to be more people like me. And then like, they kind of realize like, I still have like the same problems there. I still have to like go to work every day and I still have to do this, but now I have like different kind of problems, but they're all kind of the same.
Yeah. 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 You're right. You're totally right. It's inspiring that it doesn't get better, but it's also motivating or, terrible that it doesn't get better, but it does. Yeah. You learn what you're doing. I hope that people, hope that there's somebody listening. If you think you can't do something because you don't know how to do it, like, yeah, you can. I mean, you didn't know how to do whatever you're doing now at one point. Everything's hard before it's easy. So I hope that, if there's something that you want to do, just try, just start.
Yeah.
Just start doing it. Yeah.
Every once in a while, or, someone from an up and coming kid from Texas Tech will email me who's wanting to be a journalist, and they'll be like, what is it that I need to do? And I always just like, you need to start writing, because even if it doesn't get published, even if you're put it on a blog, even if you don't publish that blog, just try and write every day, or at least a couple times a week, because like, you want to be ready when you have that opportunity that like comes across. And I feel like that's with anything. If people make it look easy, just, you have to know that like, and trust that like there's been a million hours put into making it look effortless.
Oh man, totally. Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's the same with, that's not just writers and songwriters and musicians. That's any job. Mm-hmm. So it can be that easy for you, one day. And then it won't be, because you'll be doing something else that's challenging.
Yeah. And then also like, like I think like there's, obviously like what I do as far as writing is different than songwriting, but I always feel like, there's sometimes a bittersweet feeling after finishing something, because it's like, oh, I'm done. There's like that relief. And then also it's like, oh, am I going to be able to do this again? Even though I know I'm going to be able to do it again, at some point, like, I'm not. So like, I don't know. I don't know.
Or like, am I proud of, is this good, or am I just proud of myself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this actually good? But it doesn't matter, because if you did it and you put it out, you're successful. I follow Rick Rubin on Instagram, and if y'all don't follow Rick Rubin on Instagram, he's a great follow. He's an interesting follow, because he'll put one thing up there and then he'll take it off. So he's always got one thing up there, but he puts the most inspiring quotes. And he put one up one time about, if you've done it and you put it out and it's successful. So don't think it's not successful, and you don't ever know when it's going to be successful. It may be successful 20 years from now. Like, who knows? So, and I'm preaching to the choir here, because I'm talking to myself. These are things that I tell myself when I go on walks too, Mm-hmm. But Um, but there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in this record. I just had to trust my gut and trust the people that were around me, and away we went. And there's this funny story about paying, like, records are expensive. So I appreciate everyone that buys albums and buys tickets to shows, because you're helping us get down the road with everything. And I'm using part of my wedding fund that my family that we'd put back for a wedding. I'm using my wedding money to help finance my record. So it's definitely a choice I've made as far as my lifestyle.
Right. I mean, that's wherever you can get it, right? It's the
Oh, hey, I mean, yeah. I don't need, I ain't using the wedding money. So let's get down the road,
Right. I like that.
This episode is brought to you by Wild Gallery. Based in Austin, Texas, Wild Gallery is Austin's only art gallery featuring Native American art. Head on over to wyld.gallery to see their vast array of traditional and contemporary art by Native American artists. Currently, they are a virtual gallery. You can still make appointments on their website if you're wanting to purchase a specific painting in person, but of course, the beauty of them being virtual is that you're able to see and buy from your home without trekking all the way to Austin. While New Slang definitely focuses on music, I always love speaking with songwriters about those other mediums that they explore. Often that's through painting and drawing, the visual arts. And since I'm a West Texas native, I've long been drawn to the history, the stories, traditions, and heritage of Native Americans, especially those that were out here in the Western frontier. And that is what's so great about Wild Gallery. All of the artists featured are Native American, and they are telling stories about Native Americans. If you scroll through their collection, you'll see a wide range of styles as well. There's definitely some American West and some bold pop art. There's more of that traditional fine art like oil on canvas, as well as those that are influenced by Native American traditions. My parents, they always had paintings hanging around the house or their offices that were inspired by West Texas and Native Americans. And now I do as well, especially here in my office, which I'll let you guess where the latest print is from. As a journalist, I do feel like the most intimidating part is staring at a blank white page. And of course, you don't have to be a journalist to be staring at a white blank page. I know a lot of y'all do that. What I'm saying though is, don't let your walls suffer from that same white blandness. Go visit Wild Gallery. I guarantee you will find something that moves you and that you'll want hanging in your home. Again, that's Wild with a Y. Go visit wyld.gallery. Links will be in the show notes as well. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
I was going to ask a little bit more about some of the songwriting as far as like songwriting in this year goes. How have you, I guess, like adjusted to obviously this past year of there being just kind of like everyone being in limbo with a quarantine and the pandemic? How has that affected or changed or in good ways and bad, like your routine of songwriting?
It's been weird. It's been both. Some days, some weeks, I'm just like super down about it and confused and weirded out. And then there's some weeks I have just, for some reason, I feel motivated and inspired by the times. So it's a little bit of both. We never knew when it was going to end. So I feel like I spent a lot of the pandemic in a waiting, feeling like I was watching the gate the whole time. Mm-hmm. and not knowing, okay, well, should I write my whole next album now? Or should I should I go ahead and put this album out, or should I wait to put this album out? And there was a lot of just wondering and waiting on what to do. And that really eclipsed a lot of my artistic brain during this last year. So there's been that, but I have written, I guess I've written about half of the next album, and I can already kind of feel where I want it to go. which, were inspired by different things. I was inspired by quitting. I was inspired by quitting the 9 to 5 and getting out on the road and playing music. I was inspired by the honky tonks and the people I was meeting there, and wrote the last album. And now I'm just inspired by my own thoughts. So it's going to be a different album next time. But yeah, I would have liked, I heard Brennen say the other day that she wrote like 30 Western swing songs during the pandemic. And I was just like immediately slumped, like, oh my God. I think I wrote 5, but no, more than 5, but still not 30. But she's prolific, but I think everybody's kind of treated it differently. But yeah, I spent a lot of the pandemic watching the gate, like I said, just like wondering what is the best move to make, so finally I just quit thinking about it and did it.
Yeah, that's
so here comes an album, y'all.
I think a lot of people were in that kind of same feeling. As far as it would have been better just had at the very beginning said everyone like
it's going to be a year.
Yeah, it's going to be a year.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 9 months. It's going to be because it felt like we were like always living in like 4-week increments where like the goalposts just kept on getting pushed, nudged back.
Like do I book a tour, or is it going to get canceled,
and so like
what do I do?
Where people just weren't feeling like you could get into a routine. And that's also weird too, because like there's clearly some songwriters who can, or not just songwriters, but artists in general, who can do the thing where they wake up every day and start working on a song in the morning. And they may not finish it or anything like that, but they can do that where 8 o'clock they can just start it and work on something for a few hours and then do that the next day. Other people, you can't necessarily have like, it's not that time thing. You can't just be given 1,000 hours and say, here, do it all at once, and it takes that inspiration. It takes that, as far as like a lot of times stories come from being out on the road or seeing just people out in life and doing things, being able to just drive, just like that downtime, quote unquote downtime of driving, and just being able to have like that free mind, so like I know that some people probably felt like they wasted this year or they didn't do as much as they should have, but I think like it's all these different little things that maybe hopefully people got better at, or they felt like they were able to work on.
Yeah. And I think not unlike other artists, sometimes our as a songwriter, it's a little, for me, it's a little bit project based. So I had just had my brain in this Bad Romantic project. And so my brain kind of stayed in that project. And so it is the fact that it's just now coming out. I feel like, okay, well now my brain is ready to leave, my heart and everything is ready to let this baby out, and then let's make another one, kind of a deal, So, whoa, sexual reference there. So that's a little bit of it. You kind of, once an album is out, you feel a little more freed to start the next one. So there's a little bit of that too, but not too much. But I've written some over the pandemic that I really like, and I cannot wait to record. I hope I start the next album soon, because I really like the songs I've written during the pandemic. I wrote one with my buddy Austin Jenkins in Nashville, and I wrote another one about getting ghosted by a guy that's in a George Jones cover band, and it's called the song's called Playing Possum. And I wrote that one with Bonnie Montgomery, and I've done that live a couple of times, and it's been fun to do. So I'm excited to record these new songs and get those out.
Yeah. Well, you got the little baby possum come visit you this morning. So.
Yeah, I know. It's a sign. It's a sign, Thomas.
Exactly.
It's a sign.
I love just, I knew where that was going when you said George Jones tribute. I was like, oh, I know exactly. And this is going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's fun. I like comedy, and I like heartedness, and don't get me wrong. I like a good Sad Bastard song for sure. But when there's some funny and levity and some comedy involved, and then I'm usually try to get on board.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I always love whenever there's like that little bit of that wink, where maybe you're not
Yeah.
laughing out loud, chuckling, but like you're like, oh, that's a nice little nod to anyone
Yeah.
who's picking up on what that is. Yeah.
Little bit of hee-haw in your CMT,
They need to bring hee haw back. Do you think
Oh,
they could?
I've said that so many times. I would audition for that show until they daggum hired me. I would keep auditioning. I wish they'd redo Hee Haw. Of course, if you watch it now, there's no way some of those jokes would fly in today's times. But,
Right. Yeah.
The thing can still be there. Oh, I'd love it. Somebody out there, if somebody's listening and you're into production and let's get that done, I will be very involved.
Yeah. I think though it would be even just like as like a YouTube show or something. I don't know. There's that's what the thing. There's like 1,000 different TV networks and there's 1,000 different streaming services. Someone has the budget for something like that.
I mean, I grow corn in my backyard every year just to try to get a good joke video, but the corn always dies before it looks good in the film. I'm trying. Wouldn't that be fun to pop out of some corn for some jokes? But I can't get the corn to grow.
Yeah, maybe we'll. I don't know. I don't know if I know anyone in production.
I don't know.
We'll have to just. I guess is what people call manifesting this idea into existence.
Yes. Maybe we'll just keep talking about it.
Yeah, I'll tweet about it later, and then we'll get the ball rolling. I think it would be really, really cool. I don't know. There's some things like that are necessary to bring back. So, yeah.
There's a song on the album called Picket Fence that I wrote. And I envisioned the video for that album with animation on it. Do you remember in Hee Haw when like the big dancing pigs would like dance across the front of this cartoon pigs would dance across the front? I really want those cartoon pigs in my Picket Fence video. Yeah, but I don't know if it's a thing. I love Hee Haw. I love it.
That Picket Fence song, when I first heard it, was on that Texas Cotton soundtrack.
Yeah, we redid it. We redid it for this album.
Well, I was gonna ask, how did you get involved with like the Texas Cotton soundtrack to begin with? Because I think people, it's not like it's kind of criminally underrated. There's a lot of really great artists on there.
Right. Well, that's all because of everybody's good buddy, Bo Smith. Bo Smith is a cattle raiser and rancher and down near Bastrop and Elgin. And he's a really good puncher and good guy all around. And he was the, music wrangler. I don't know what you'd call it for the music on the album. Some songs made it into the film and some songs didn't. Picket Fence didn't. But yeah, Bo just called and asked if I had anything that kind of available for the movie. And first we talked about certain scenes, but I don't think it made it in, I don't think it made that cut or whatever. But yeah, that's all because of our friend Bo Smith. Bo is good buddies with Colter and Charlie and Matt and Carson and everybody that's on that album. So he's the one that put us all together. And then individually, we went down and recorded it at Yellow Dog with Adam Oder down there near Wimberley and at that studio. So, yeah, that all got put together because of Bo. Bo is a great guy and good buddy.
Yeah, I knew it had been done down in Wimberley with Adam.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the entry point for Colter doing that last record down there.
Yeah, I think so. It might have been like his kind of test run to see how he liked it down there. But the studio is so beautiful. The river runs just right there. You can jump in, and the river runs right there by the studio, and that can be pretty inspiring when you're recording. You just kind of go out there and camp your whole time through and stay really focused or not focused. There's a lot to, but you can disappear out there whichever way you want to disappear into it, or you can disappear out of it. So that's a beautiful thing about recording at Yellow Dog. And Adam is such a great producer. So he did a good job on that record. And yeah, I think that record's kind of underrated too. It's a cool soundtrack. There's so many cool people on it.
Yeah, like that's what is it? Like there's like some moon pies on there.
Oh
Colter,
yeah, Mike's
you.
on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike played and Mike sang harmony on that version of Picket Fence. Yeah, yeah, Mike's on there. I think there was a Moon Pie song, and Mike Harmeyer like kind of did his own deal. But yeah, it's a really cool soundtrack.
Yeah,
I'm proud to have been included.
You and Mike need to do a song. That's like a record that you need to do. Is like
I'd love to. He's my buddy.
Record.
He's my friend. Oh, a duets record would be awesome. I have a low voice though. Sometimes singing with a guy is hard because I sing in their same range. So sometimes, that's why I like one other reason I really like singing with Colter is he's so low. Of course, his voice is kind of evolving into a really mature, beautiful Western voice. But I can sing on top of Colter's voice easily because he sings so low, But yeah, duets work. Mike actually helped me pick the singles for this album. I asked a lot of people which one we should kind of push or which one we should choose, and Mike's was the kind of final cherry on top opinion that I was like, yep, that one. So he did. He helped me. I trusted him a lot.
Yeah, I love Mike. He's like we've done a couple of podcasts, and I guess like the first podcast we did, or maybe the first time we met, we were just talking about music, and then they played the show, and after the show, I don't know how we started talking about TV, but like that's all we were talking about was like because he's a big TV guy, and I think it's like one of those things that maybe people don't know about, but like he's like knows so much about like all these HBO shows and stuff, and so we were just like, and I know it's like not HBO, but Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah,
that show. As far as that's another show that if they wanted to bring back or like do a different style,
yeah,
oh
man, Coach Taylor, you bet, that's a crush right there.
Buddy Jackson.
Yes, Buddy Jackson. Yeah, you let Buddy Jackson sing my song. Yeah, I binged Friday Night Lights during the pandemic. I binged that. It was good. I liked it. But moon pies are, I feel like a lot of us are so proud of moon pies in the way that like I am one of you, you are one of me, like, and you're doing so good, and they've just stuck to what they do, and it's paying off. They're a big deal, and they're selling out bigger places, and they just have this sound. I'm just so happy for the Moon Pies, and I think they're so damn good, and their guitar harmonies, and they just have their own wave that they're just riding, and we're all just so proud of them. I love the Moon Pies. They're one of my favorite bands for sure.
Yeah, what I love so much, it's everything that you just said, like as far as like having a distinct sound and like just hardworking ethic, all that kind of stuff. What's I find really kind of amazing is they keep on doing things that feel like it's coming out of left field, but are like just as good as anything they've ever done. And I'm talking about like clearly like the stuff they did over in England with the strings and the horns, and it's like it's not West Texas, it's like Texas James Bond, but
it was still the Moon Pies.
Yeah. And then
so
of course
cool.
That last record they did of just like the Gary Stewart covers.
Yeah.
And that it's stuff like that like maybe, none of us ever really thought about, oh, that would be cool to do. And they've just done it. And it's like, oh yeah, amazing. Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear what y'all have planned next. 'Cause it feels like they always have something, like they're all like, oh, there's something else coming that's cool, and you're not going to believe what it is.
Yeah, and those guys are so they've been themselves the whole way. Like they will still come out and talk to everybody at the merch booth and hang out after a show, and I'm so happy. I hope they go all the way, whatever all the way is. Who knows anymore? But I hope that they keep being as successful and creative as they are, because they're great. I'd love to do some songs with Mike. In fact, I may text him today and say, let's get on FaceTime and let's write something or cover something even. Yeah. It'd be fun.
How is that, the FaceTime or the Zoom call co-writing? Have you done much of that?
It's weird because, you know, when you're on Face, you can't hear each other at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like when you're on speakerphone, if they're talking, like you can't. So if you're playing at the same time and trying to sing and think about something at the same time, then you kind of cut each other out a little bit. So it's a little weird, but I mean, I've gotten it done.
Yeah.
It's just you kind of work around your parameters a little bit. No big deal.
Yeah. I've heard some people say like, oh, this is the way I'm probably going to do it now, because now I don't have to, especially like people who are, if they're like, they live somewhere else. Like an example, not that I've talked with Lori McKenna about this, but like, you know, she doesn't live in Nashville, but you know, she'll go down to Nashville and write. It's probably made it so much easier on her to be able to like just stay at home and write with people. But also obviously, as you're kind of saying there, like the technology aspects of just kind of getting in the way. Like if we were co-writing right now and I was playing guitar, you couldn't like necessarily sing as I was playing because there's like that little bit of lag and all the stuff that gets in the way.
But you just adjust, you know, it's all right. You can still get it done. It's okay. I mean, I definitely prefer, you know, in person, but it's either way. But yeah, you're right. It does, like, we never thought about, oh, I could just write with you on FaceTime. You'd think I'd have to go to you and write with you when you don't. So yeah, it probably does widen our brain about what we can get done songwriting wise. Yeah.
I think like it's something that I've talked with about, because people thought like I would just do Zoom calls or Zoom conference calls, whatever, for the podcast. And what I've realized, and when I say like, let's just talk on the phone instead, I think that like Zoom works best if you already kind of have that relationship with that person. If you already like have hung out and you've probably written before, it probably works so much better. And in the podcast setting, it works better if I already kind of know you, or if we have like multiple people on. The phone call though is a little bit easier if it's someone I just kind of know, because you know, we're just talking on the phone versus like having to be like in front of, like you're being able to walk around, and you're able to like not.
Oh man, you don't even know if I have on pants. I mean, I may not have on, but you don't know. Right.
Yeah. You didn't have to get like camera ready and like get stuck in front of the computer and all that kind of stuff, you know? So in my opinion, that's what makes it easy. So yeah, I don't know, I'm rambling on here now, but yeah, well, it's been really, really great talking with you about this upcoming record, and I absolutely love it. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it as well. So yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. I really mean it. This has been a long time coming, and I can't wait for people to hear it, and I can't wait to see you and see all the people after they hear the record. And let's do it. Let's go. It's going to be cool. I'm excited about it. Bad Romantic coming out later this summer.
All right, that is it for this one. Be sure to go pre-order Bad Romantic by Summer Dean, out August 27th. Go stop on over at our presenting partners, Desert Door, The Blue Light Live, and Wild Gallery. Hit up that New Slang merch store and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. All right, I'll see y'all next week for a couple more New Slang conversations.